The story is called Acres of Diamonds, and it was written in the 19th century by a gentleman called Russell Conwell. This is my interpretation of that story. Many years ago, there lived a farmer, and he lived on the land. He had a few chickens, a few goats, and a few crops. By any standards, he was doing very well. But he had a dream. He had a dream to become wealthy beyond measure. A dream that kept him awake at night. Often, travellers would come through his land, and the farmer, wishing to hear stories about the world around him, would invite the travellers to stay. One day, an exotic-looking gentleman arrived, dressed in great finery, such as the farmer had never seen before. The farmer invited him to stay for supper that evening. And this traveller told him stories such as the farmer had never told before. He was intoxicated by the stories of lands where the milk and the honey tasted like nectar from the gods, where the men and the women looked the most beautiful people ever, and where the streets were paved with gold. That idea of the streets are paved with gold hit the farmer, and the following day, when the traveller left, the idea of the streets paved with gold started to gnaw at the farmer, to the point where he began to neglect his work. He drove everyone crazy talking about streets paved with gold, until one day, in a fit of rashness, he upped and sold his farm and went to search for those streets paved with gold. For years he travelled. He travelled north, and he travelled south, and he travelled east, and he travelled west. And wherever he landed, he would ask the stranger, "Tell me, where are the streets paved with gold?" And they, snickering to themselves, would say, "Over there, just over there." And the farmer would pick himself up and travel just over there, just over there. Until one day, poor, broken, alone, the farmer died. The streets paved with gold were just over there, always out of reach. Back on the farm, the farmer who had bought the farm was doing very well. The chickens were doing well, the crops were going very well indeed, and he was a very contented man. He couldn't want for more in life. One day, a group of geologists came to visit, and they asked if they could do some excavations and check to see what the geology was like on the land. And of course, the farmer welcomed them and said, "Please, explore." And these geologists, as they started to walk around the farm, they noticed some strange rocks, black, scattered all over. The farm was very large and had many, many acres. They picked up these rocks. Some were as big as my hand. And they asked the farmer if he wouldn't mind if they took them back to their laboratory to check to see what they were. The farmer readily agreed to this. The following day, one of the geologists came back. He was all excited. He said, "Do you know what you have here? These are not rocks." And the farmer looked at him and said, "What are you talking about?" He said, "These are diamonds. These are some of the biggest diamonds we've ever seen. And they're all over the place. You have literally acres of diamonds in your farm." He said, "What are you talking about? They're just rocks." No, no, no. If you've never seen a diamond in its raw format, a diamond does not look like a diamond. You have to take special tools. You have to cut the rock. You have to polish it. You have to nurture it to bring out the diamond within. The farmer was shocked. He was also one of the wealthiest men in the entire world from that day forward. He had the biggest smile on his face from that day on.